All right, so what is up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, along with Canadian Bear and Anthony, the Chosen One. If y'all want to say hey, yeah,
What's up, guys? How's it going?
yeah.
How's it going, guys?
And we're here today. We're going to talk about the questions and that you guys had in the Discord, and we're going to go over Ewoks today. So if you haven't already, go ahead and head to the Discord and become a member. Go to the live Q&A whenever we announce it, like I did last time, and you can just ask a question or have something in there that you kind of want us to talk about. And if not, you can go ahead and come check out the Empire lists, come check out the GAR lists or the CIS stuff that everyone's talking about, and kind of get a good idea about a list that you might have. And then you can also head on to the Patreon, and there you'll be able to help support the channel with giveaways. And even right now, right, if you leave a comment and are a subscriber, you will be entered in to win the $25 gift card that'll come out next month. And other than that, today we're going to talk about Ewoks and the questions that you guys had. So the first question that you guys had was about the gav tank. It's not necessarily a question, but it's kind of like a good little comment about the gav tank can not only carry the E-web, but you measure it from the base of the gav, so you would increase its range. It's very overlooked if you ask me. So I know a lot of you guys were not used to the gav tank because you don't really play Empire, but any open transport like the snail, do you guys have, a good range 3 or 4 or any good, things that you would put on the snail tank or whatever?
Yeah, so as far as the snail tank goes, I would usually run it with the Magna Guards, with the RPS before the points change. They were relatively cheap, and I like throwing them on there because they were pretty good. Uh, it's pretty good threat saturation as far as having the snail tank inch really like forward every so often, and then being able to reposition with it is really good. And the magnets, if they need to get off, they can. I would usually 3 out of 4 times I would eventually load them off of the snail tank because they've been in heavy cover on it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't remember if the snail tank took damage, that they took damage. I can't remember.
Only if they're destroyed.
Okay. So yeah, it's a pretty good way to get. They can still get shot at, but they would benefit from heavy cover. Um, and then I would always staple situational awareness on them. So whatever they were doing, they were going to be fine most of the time. So another thing that I would like to throw on them was the B2s, B2s with the T1 series and onboard comp channel. Having them have a base supporter token and having something with range 2 to 3 on on such a wide base is kind of overlooked sometimes. I think if you're trying to like be competitive when you're deploying, face it towards the side. That way, nobody's really expecting it. I think people downplay how wide those big bases can be and how much they can move. So pulling it kind of to the side at the beginning, kind of like is a fake out a little bit. And I've done it too with like the AVAX speeder truck. Um, put it on the side at the beginning of the activation. You can pivot, move, pivot again, reposition, and then all of a sudden now you're like halfway across the map in one move. So it's pretty good. I would suggest if people are using transports, kind of just make sure whatever you're transporting, if it needs a face supporter token, or if it doesn't need a face supporter token, then if you're going to really do anything with them on round 2 so like the A5 speeder truck, if you're doing Black Suns, first round, there's not really much in there, but second round, it's
And then Canadian Bear, did you have any?
Uh, Not from myself playing, but I have had a rough time once. Someone had thrown 88 in the back of a gaff, and him getting that extra range boost was really frustrating to deal with. So yeah, there's a lot of options out there. I mean, and everyone now knows Dave Grant from Las Vegas and what he did with the gaff tank. So there's some nasty tricks out there with that thing.
Yeah, and I think that the E-Web is really good. I also wish that there were some more fire support units in Empire because, again, like even having the mortar on the back in case you didn't have an E-Web, if you had the gaff tank, a mortar on the back can fire support and help the gaff tank shoot with its big dice pool, and you get that range, and you still have that surge to hit possibly, and or I think that critical one on the gun. So then you might have that impact gun or just the regular one that shoots range 1 to 4 with a red and 3 white. But yeah, anything on the gav tank is really fun. I the gav tank to me is just tough to run because it's so low. So your sight is kind of blocked by high terrain, unlike the ATST, and then you're not shooting as much possible dice as an ATST. Yeah, you're paying a little bit less and you're bringing somebody, but then the person is still able to get shot even though they have heavy cover and they could still die pretty easily. And then there's 2 weak points on the side. So I'm always hesitant to run the Gav, but I mean it is a fun looking unit and a cool unit to be able to transport and do stuff with. I just personally never use it. So let's go to the next one. So possibly addressing the point changes that will happen in the following weeks, talking about win rates with Blizzard Force and Double Dark Troopers and how things could change with the points adjustment. So that points adjustment is probably coming up this week, and we're probably going to be getting it real soon. And so I think that the Double Darks. So I think we were trying to say if maybe we could either just bring one Dark Trooper unit instead of two, maybe that could help, and or maybe if you increase the base points by 5 points to make it 100 as a base unit, that could also be helpful because that's an extra 10 points. Yeah, but you know that's something. And with Blizzard Force, I honestly think that every other Battle Force should be brought up to meet Blizzard Force rather than Blizzard Force get watered down, and or at least just have Commander Vader in there, not Operative Vader, like Kyle from the Fifth Trooper was saying, and or limit it to 3 bikes. But the 4 bikes is so fun, and that's why it's a Battle Force, and that's why I really like it. So that's why I think that every other unit should get up there. And I don't know about the points changes. So what are you guys thinking?
At very least, there is no reason that those HRUs should be a point per model cheaper than a regular stormtrooper.
I agree with you on
Uh,
that.
Especially because you can take two heavies. Well, they usually take the RT-97 and the
yeah, and they've got more native
DLT.
keywords and
Precise one, search to hit, and then what the
unhindered and
yeah, that's what I was
Impact
thinking
yeah,
of the other
one.
day. Yeah,
Everything is ranged 4. They're all the heavy, so you're basically shooting a range 3 full just normal stormtrooper unit with your HRUs or HRUs.
yeah, and all their heavies have keywords like the DLT has impact one, well, not the RT-97, but that one's one red, 3 white, search to hit. Even if you take the T-21, 4 white, it's critical two. Take the HH-12, it's impact three. Yeah, like it's kind of ridiculous. Like if you have two of the heaviest weapons, it's like 74 points. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
But I think they need to be
they
worked
could
on.
probably bring those guys up a little bit. All right.
It's ridiculous.
Anything else to add to that? Basically, no, nothing.
I mean, just Commander Vader, maybe. I mean, I don't see, I don't see why they get access to Operative Vader and Commander Vader. It's kind of dumb, in my opinion. I don't think the bikes are the problem. I think, well, bikes could be the problem, but I mean, I think people have started to bring more uh, things with the blast keyword. So going up against bikes, if you have something that has blast, um, is fine. Um, I've had my luck with being able to counteract bikes pretty well over the past few months. You just kind of have to be wary of where they're going to compose, what their actual range is, where they're kind of going to go, and more or less focus on the objectives that they're trying to do. So, like something like breakthrough, um, they're going to be kind of flying around the map. So maybe one round, don't really focus on them a little bit. If you know it's like very, very early, they're just trying to get in position. But for stuff like bombing run, I think focusing on them first, within like round two, is probably the way to go. But I don't necessarily think bikes are the problem. I think it's the HRUs and how cheap they are compared to like a regular stormtrooper unit, and then the fact that they have access to operative Vader and Commander Vader. Like, I don't think anybody runs Commander Vader. But of course, am I wrong?
bikes more so become a problem with how aggressively you can bid with Blizzard Force
Yeah,
and just being able to force your deck.
You can easily get an 18-point bid, easily,
Yep.
and still have 4 bikes, 2 HRUs, Operative Vader decked out. You have your your commander, generic commander, with improvised orders and then just two naked snows, and you've still got 182 points. Oh, well, and emergency transponders on all four bikes. That's 182. I was like, geez, man, that is such a good bid for such a easy list to play. So, yeah, we just need to
Well,
bring up everything else.
I guess the way to counteract that, which I think is a pretty good thing, is if it comes down to a tie, the person who spent the most points gets the tiebreaker. So essentially, red player gets the tiebreaker. Where I think in the past it used to be blue player that would get the tiebreaker. So now it's kind of like, okay, how much of a bet am I realistically going to get? And let's just say you're going into a competitive gameplay, especially now with kind of worlds invites on the line, and everybody's kind of really getting their sweat on. Like I think you're going to be wanting to, yeah, you can force blue player, but I think having such a big bid is going to kind of, you know, it can kind of come back and bite you.
And then with the double darks, I know that that's tough because they're winning so much, especially with two units of them. And I was saying last time that I know that the rest of the army is pretty thin, and there's only so many objectives that two units can really do. So, or three units if you have, Gideon, Moff Gideon, and the two darks. If they're still alive somehow at the end, but you've managed to take out all the other units, if you haven't gotten taken out yourself, I mean that's possible that either key positions or intercept the transmissions, they wouldn't have enough. So maybe if you can find the perfect objectives and maybe find the weakest points and dwindle them down to where there's not enough units to win the game, you could go that route, and instead of trying to focus everything on armored units that are gonna, yeah, they go twice. It's hard. I don't know. I really don't know how to necessarily counter it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's as what is it? As Luke says, just roll more crits, right, and hope for the best.
Yes. Well, all right. Let's see. The bounty lists in skirmish with any faction, and how viable are they? So I think that bounty list, or skirmish bounty lists are viable if you've got a good melee threat as well. So, like I was saying, I've done a skirmish list with Callus, Boba, and two dewbacks with shores, a naked shore unit, and a mortar, and that's 6 units. And they had some upgrades. Obviously, the dudes had up the gun upgrade, the 5.1, and it was great. 6 acts, 3 melee threats. One's immune to pierce. 2 of them have really good melee dice, and then the other ones are just kind of shooty. And so depends on what you bring in that skirmish list because it's such a small board and everyone's going to be getting close. And again, the objectives for skirmish are all pretty much trying to get close. Elimination, so trying to be the only one left alive. Pivotal positions, where you've got to meet up at one spot. Breach, where you're probably going to be meeting each other. And then control, where you're having to take over one spot. So maybe shooty can work, but I think you're better off taking a ton of melee. What do you guys think? Where for bounty lists and or what to take with bounty lists in skirmish? Have y'all ever done it before?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was talking to you a few days ago about I did a learning game with Rebels, and I did it there just for the fun of it, and I felt like it takes up a lot of points. 500 is kind of restricted in how much units you can take, and I feel, at least my own personal opinion, 500 points trying to get as much activations as possible because it's 3x3, and it goes pretty fast in terms of getting within close range. So kind of like I think somebody asked about food troopers. Food troopers are getting range 1 to 2 to start really doing damage. Like after round 1, everything's within like range 2 to 3 anyways. So I think having more activations can really benefit you. And taking the bounty hunter is okay. I think it can make it work, but I feel like they're going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting throughout the game. And most times you don't want them to have an order, so like Boba or like Din, uh, you don't want them to have an order, but you're kind of at the mercy of having, I think like 6. I think I had 6 activations with the Rebel list with Din, and the other guy had like 8 activations. It's kind of like, and the Rebels are white saves, so yeah, it can be kind of tough.
Yeah, I think Empire and or Shadow Collective would be the best ones to do that for because with Shadow Collective, if you at least have Cad and Bosk. Bosk doesn't have the best melee, but he does wind up getting charged if he takes enough wounds, and null courage, and if you used his other training slot to bring tenacity, maybe that could work. So like maybe the hunter and tenacity along with targeting scopes. So that way, if he does have to get close, or Cad has his gauntlets and he can get close, and then you can also skirt orders and give them all extra dodges or aims with Shadow Collective. So that could work, and or you could also probably fit somehow Maul and Cad or Maul and Bosk, because then with Bosk he doesn't need command cards, so then you can always rely on Maul's cards, and then yeah, I think those are the only kind of viable lists as long as they have some sort of melee and or almost high activations, because again you're always having to meet in the last one either standing or having enough units in breach. It's a fine line, so it's viable, but
I think
yeah.
yeah, Boba is just kind of like he's there. It doesn't matter what you do with him; he's gonna do horrible things to your opponent.
Mhm.
um, but probably Cad shines second most. I think just it's his specialty and getting close, and now you can just drop the bomb, and they really don't have much of a way to get around that bomb now.
Especially with it being such a small board and a
Yeah.
finite area where you can run. All
Yeah,
right.
and kind of go back to Shadow Collective. You can have Cad Bane, 3 Black Sun Enforcers, and 3 Pikes. 7 activations for 499.
That's
It's
awesome.
not bad. You can take all of Cad Bane's command cards and then just whatever else. It's not bad. Max the trouble.
Yeah, because with everything getting so close, the Black Sun would probably be absolutely amazing. And if you were, to still bring, up close and personal, situational awareness, and other stuff on him, yeah, you're looking at some really good units that can take some stuff out. Let's see, we got a command. All right, so we'll go to the next one. So let's see, for those purists that paint to film, what is the best whites to use for storm? Do y'all do a lot of painting, and what's your favorite white as well? And any specific, I guess advice for stormtroopers or clones, since you painted clones possibly before?
I don't know, man. I kind of hate painting white. I really do. It's like like there's so many whites. Like how do you even? I don't know. If I'm just going for like a really something quick and dirty, I'll literally just prime it in white, and then maybe go with some apothecary white, because it has like a whitish kind of grayish thing. But if I am going to pour a lot of time into it, then I'll kind of prime it in black, go over, do some white, some zenithal hiding, and then I'll go over with the apothecary white, and then I think I usually use borax white, and there's another layer that I use on top of that, and I'll usually mix in a little bit of a gray to kind of get the highlights of it. Yeah, I think using apothecary white as your is it a contrast paint? It is.
Yeah.
Kind of going over there, like getting all the crevices in there and like washing out the brush and then like going over and getting all the leftover stuff. It'll really like see the cracks and the crevices where you want to get into. It'll give like a really good effect. Kind of go over with the base or a layer. I've been testing out with dry brushing, but it's 50-50.
Yeah, my go-to white paint is Vallejo model white. It it's a little bit I don't know. I found it a little bit smoother than some of the other ones. Um, but yeah, pretty much same thing as Anthony. Apothecary white over top of a slightly off-white primer, and um, then I'll dry brush with that white, and it brings it back pretty nicely most of the time. If not, it gives it some like a little bit more of a scuffed look. If you want something a little bit more shadowed, kind of like old battle damage kind of look.
Yeah, and if you always mess up, you can just be like, "Oh yeah, it's Battle Damage Story."
Exactly.
I meant to do that. I meant to do that. It's like, oh, I
All
like
part of
these.
the process.
Yeah, I like these damages. How'd you do that? It's like, I just went in there, just did it all the time. You're just like, messing up. I think I did that with my last set of art troopers. I tried dry brushing it, I did way too much, and I was like, this is too crap. And so I just did it to the rest of them and did more apothecary white, and then went in with some base white. And it came out okay. They weren't that bad. I saved it.
And I really don't get to paint often, and or if I do, it's probably like the a little box of a ton of different Citadel or Army Painter. I've gotten those and I've liked them, but just depends on the primer for me. I have to get like a good primer, or else that paint just doesn't work well. So, yep. All right.
Their new white primer is really good though.
The which one?
The new white primer from GW
Okay.
is really good.
Well, that's good
uh,
to know. I'll have to get that.
Which one is that?
um, White Scar.
White Star. Yes, I
Yeah,
have used that one. The only problem is it's like $20, so I'm about to do that.
but it comes out really clean.
There's a White Star, and there's like another white.
Uh, they don't make Corex anymore, so
They don't make Corex anymore.
no, they got rid of it for White Scar.
Okay, that makes sense. I remember I bought like a decent amount of that, and then all of a sudden it was White Scar, and I was like, what is this? But another one, kind of going off the Games Workshop, their Wraith Bone is really good. I love their Wraith Bone. I use that on my short troopers. Super, super easy. I also use them on my Wookiees to get more of like a brown undertone, and I like tested it out with the Wraith Bone. I did a primer of it, and I went there. I think I also did an apothecary white over it, and then I went with some more contrast paints, like really get like a dirty kind of look, and it came out amazing. The other ones I just used it with a regular Zenithal or regular white, and it came out like so. Wraith Bone for your Wookiees. Wraith Bone for your Wookiees. So.
So we'll go ahead and cover the next. There's like two or three, and there's two of them together. So from Canadian Bear, from you, that's awesome. So in honor of today's video, fleets should get a second keyword or an expansion to Ready X. It would be something like standbys can't be removed with suppression, and someone asks, why should I play them? I mean, seriously, what makes them special besides miniatures? Well, I kind of agree with that statement, but I'm not a rebel player at heart. I just like to play them every now and then whenever someone else wants to play Empire. But I agree that the double dice at range 1-2 and them being kind of cheap is great, and they do make very, very good backline, either objective holders or just kind of making sure that nothing happens. But yeah, what do you guys think about and Canadian Bear? If you want to elaborate a little bit more on the post about getting that Ready X, or kind of like not getting the standby shot off with suppression.
Yeah, I mean it just. I mean the whole thing is them coming off of A New Hope, and they're about to get boarded. Um, that kind of seems like a really stressful situation, and they didn't run away or screw up their shots when they were getting shot at. So um, it like I think obviously Force Push should still get rid of it, because
Like a
that
movement.
would just be really weird. um, but yeah, like it's nothing crazy. It's something that at least they're going to retain the value more after they get shot up and their white dice blank out.
Exactly. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm wondering why to take them. I mean, the use of standbys isn't going to be that great, and you can't put on Overwatch. You can't put that on them because they don't have a training slot. So it's kind of hard to make that range, that standby range, worth it. And so having nimble to me is way better, and then having a range 1-3 black dice, it's way better, even though they don't surge. But there's like a 25% chance of getting some sort of paint or at least a hit and something on white dice.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean it's a good amount of dice, but they do need to become better or way cheaper, in my opinion. Have or gain and a training slot, something, because again, yeah, they're good backliners, but that's really all they're good for. And then even then, you're better off probably taking a unit that can be more efficient.
Yeah. Across the board, we just need more of those core upgrade boxes.
Yeah, give them another heavy, or give them some more something to beef them up. Yeah, that'd be a really good idea.
Tell you what, give them a white and a black, and everybody will say they're broken. I'll tell you that much.
Yep.
That would make sense. That would actually be better because yeah, they have white dice saves, and that's worse than the Black Sun. And so why not give them that surge and that black dice, because they're gonna get eaten alive anyway, and they would become more of a threat, and people would probably want to take them out a little bit faster, leaving all the other units that you have a little bit more open, possibly.
A really nasty combo that I like to do. It took me like a few games to kind of really, you know, get a few runs with it. But having Leia with the Fleet Troopers and then playing her No Time for Sorrows to get them that speed one move is pretty good. I think, yeah, I can't remember if you can put recon into it. You can put recon into one of them, get them a little bit closer. I kind of play them how I would play Black Suns. And I always use the Barrage Trooper because it has Blast and Impact too. Getting Blast with no cover on white dice, two thumbs up. Because they're white dice, what they're gonna do? They're not gonna do much. But I have had pretty above average rolls where I'm rolling like out of all those dice, I'll average like about 5 or 6 hits on like a really good roll. Then blast keyword, no cover, search to hit. Well, I'll get a crit in there, one or two, and somebody's like, "What the hell? Well, it just hit me." It's like, oh, troopers, they kind of suck though, so don't fire back, please.
Yeah, I like that shotgun, because with the shotgun and then concussion grenades, you gain blast and pierce instead of just like an ion. And yeah, it's a little bit more expensive and it's closer range, but it's a lot more deadly. But I like the blast anyway, just period. I think that's a good keyword right now with white dice, like you said, surging.
Maybe they just need another keyword on them. I feel like, let's see, everybody has some sort of way to get a dodge. The only get is a name. I think it's kind of weird, but whatever. Even if it's like defend one or temple one, I think that would be pretty good. I may be leaning towards more they added defend one maybe. I think that would probably be good, I think.
I'm not sure, honestly.
When you give them an order, they get a dodge, they search to block. It's basically the same thing as Rebel Vet,
Right.
but the Rebel Vets are eight more points because of that coordinate placement. And they have one black dice, so maybe make them 48 points and get the benefit.
Or maybe they gain long shot. I think that would be maybe if they take a standby, they gain aim, and if they take a standby, then they also gain long shot from it, because that could be helpful from that range one to from a range 1 to 2 to become a range 1 to 3 if someone I don't know, something like that could be cool.
I don't know. Make them a little bit cooler. Kind of like Canadian were saying earlier. They got wrecked, like so much. Like Director just went in there and like wrecked the ball. And I think even like in some of the Rebel series, like I don't know if either you watched Rebels, but I think there was a few episodes where they would like go save somebody, and like there was a few episodes where it was like a fleet trooper. It's like, oh yeah, we all died. It's like, what are you carrying? What are you doing? Like what? Like they're so unsuspecting. They have nothing. They have like this weird helmets. And they're trusted with the most like sensitive information ever, and yet they suck. Like what? Like it's like a big target on their backs, and it's like, I'm sorry, I can only do range 1 to 2. Maybe give them range 1 to 3. Who knows? Everybody else has it.
Yeah, that their other heavy needs some help too.
Yeah.
Cycle, and especially now, essentially the same thing is here with the Dark Troopers, and it's 2 whites and a black versus 2 reds and a black. It's just otherwise it's the same game effects, blast and impact too.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe just giving them cycle or just having it to where it's not unexhaustible. Maybe that might be broken. Maybe cycle's better.
Probably cycle.
and well, all right. Well, let's breeze through one more, and then we'll get into the Ewoks. So another one was like, I really like Jin and the Pathfinders, or at least a Rogue One theme list. I know it's not considered to be a really good list, but I would love to see some general discussion about it. How to play it, what objectives are best, and what it's weak against. Well, it's got white dice saves, so I would say it's weak against everything. But you know, I think they're great at the infiltrate, and that they can be really good at different, like, let's see, objectives. I've got a few different Rogue One kind of themes, you know, with Jin and whatnot, and I think you would use those Pathfinders just to kind of infiltrate, make sure that they're covering objectives, like recover their supplies. So let's see. Uh, with breakthrough, it might be tough, but with intercept transmissions, it could be okay. Key positions would be bad because it's the last turn that you're really scoring, and they're going to get shot up fast if they infiltrate. Recover the supplies could be really good with Cassian because then you can probably infiltrate with, if you're blue player, infiltrate with Cassian. The K2 will detach from him like at speed 1, and then maybe the first round you play K2's 4 pip, or sorry, 3 pip, that, he gains Guardian Forward at the end of K2SO's activation. You can choose another friendly operative or commander unit at range 1 and in line of sight, and then you can defeat K2SO. Enemy units cannot perform range attacks against them for until the end of the round, leaving your Cassian able to kind of run away still and get a little bit farther with the recover the supplies. And sabotage moisture evaporators, I would say maybe, maybe not. The hostage exchange, and no, because you don't have a force user. Payload could be okay because you might be able to disrupt that path. Bombing run, probably not. But you're probably looking at breakthrough, intercept, recover, and possibly sabotage. What do you? I mean, have you guys ever played a Rogue One list or played against a Rogue One list?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say I think I like I like the theme, and I think K2 does really well with the teamwork. And Cassian, Cassian's got that long shot. Well, not long shot. His one pip crack shot, so he can shoot with his sniper rifle, two different things, and he's got marksman, so he'll be able to pierce immediately. Doesn't have to spin the aim for it, and then that's if you leave him in the back, and he's got a range infinity gun, so you'd be able to shoot objective holders that go far away, or if maybe you infiltrate everybody up close. It just kind of depends on how you really want to play that list. I would just be careful how you play it, honestly.
I'll say it at least kind of solves
Yeah.
one of their problems right now, which is suppression. Because you bring in Jin, so now you've got a Courage 3 commander. Most of your focus is going to be on Courage 2 units, so at least you've got that going for you.
Yeah.
I've seen people use Jin's 2 pip to gain teamwork with K2 or Cassian, and then when K2 takes something, Cassian gains it, then Jin gains it. So you've got a really good cycle of tokens being generated depending on who you want to go first. Probably K2 is what I would do, so that you can generate as many tokens as possible, and then do the calculate the odds, and then take an aim or a dodge, and then everybody gets those. And then maybe if there's a way to gain Ahsoka in there, maybe you have Jin, Cass, K2, and Ahsoka, and Ahsoka's Guardian can help maybe with Jin, and you've got Jin can be a minor melee threat, but then Ahsoka could be a really good distraction from the Pathfinders, and or Cassian and K2.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think people also forget that the Pathfinders have Dauntless. So if you take Jin Willis with you and you have Inspiring Presence, they can kind of share that courage with you. So now, they're going to be really, 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 really hard to stay aggressive. Even if they have three, you can check their panic. They're not panic with Jin, she's close by. They gain Dauntless, gain a suppression, they do an extra move. And that's really, really good with recovery supplies. I think that's probably their strongest uh, play styles for recovery supplies. I think I've lost like 2 games. It's come down to like the wire. I just can't kill them because they have Dauntless and they just keep double moving. It kind of sucks. It's 3-2. So if you can get them behind cover, danger sense, they're white dice. I guess you're in the white dice, but you can always at least get them behind some sort of cover. So it's not too bad. And I think one of the I used to run when I first run. I did play a list that was a Rogue game. And I think the best way to play them is if you're going to infiltrate one, infiltrate the rest of them near like the first person infiltrates, like infiltrate Cassian. Maybe the Pathfinders will kind of hang back a little bit and stay within that courage level. But I think the stronger ones that you'll probably want to infiltrate with is Cassian, because Cassian and K2 together can take care of each other. So then now you're kind of in a situation where you're throwing Cassian and K2 kind of in front, and now you have a decent threat saturation with the Pathfinders behind you. And like in instances where maybe there's a round where Cassian gets banged up, you can play K2's 3-pip. So now he's basically untouchable. He just dies. And the Pathfinders can either go recover and move, or if they've already recovered, just double out of there and kind of go back with Jin. And then Jin can take care of that. I think there was a list, I want to say it was like 10x. I had two ATRTs with the rotary blaster and the placement trooper. And so had Rebel Vets and placement trooper, two ATRTs. And I think one of the ATRTs split up with the Pathfinders in K2 Cassian to kind of be a line of sight blocker, and the other one basically just a fire supporter for the Mark II. Just going around because they search the crit, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
Darth Maul's dark saber at range 1 to 3.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, 6 black dice
Um,
surge to crit.
yeah, it's very it can be very specialist, but there's definitely ways to kind of benefit from it. I think all of Cassian's and Jin's command cards work really well with them. And kind of going on top of what with Ahsoka. I think if you're gonna play Ahsoka, and you should probably want to take Cassian because Cassian's cards also give you dodges and
Free recover.
interactions.
Yeah, that free
Yeah,
recover with his 3-pip, giving it to special forces, and then they also gain the Indomitable and then a whole bunch of stuff with his 2-pip. Yeah, Cassian and Ahsoka, I think, along with maybe K2 being able to do calculate the odds onto her, it is amazing. So, yeah, I think Cassian and Ahsoka are a great pair.
yeah, especially with that two and that three pip. I think those are the ones I wouldn't even take as one pip. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. But that two pip and that three pip are going to be super nice because at the time, let's just say Ahsoka takes a few wounds, now you're just loading up the dodges. Yeah, the rest is pretty good.
All right. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just messing around trying to think of something, but yeah, I mean you can get 9x with two Pathfinders, Jin, Cassian, K2, Ahsoka, and three Rebel troopers with medics. So,
Nice.
I mean, I don't know how good that would actually be, but
Well, you've got a good amount of firepower between the Pathfinders and Cassian, possibly, and then Ahsoka's going to be trying to dive in there anyway and keep either the Pathfinders or someone else alive with that Guardian, and then you've got your 3 medics, so that's 6 extra health.
yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it? Ahsoka's got. In this case, it's barrier push, tenacity into the fray, so she's good for those white defense dice, and then she'll get up there and make a mess.
Yeah. Right. 10 dice possibly. Well, yeah, nine, 9 out of 9, I guess, because of the 6 and then the extra 3 from her one
Well,
pip.
she's got tenacity, so if you hurt her, she's got 10.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
There you
Amazing.
go.
Well, okay, let's get into the Ewoks. So the Ewoks were released last Thursday, and they look awesome. I, accidentally missed the fact that the Slingers were special forces, but yeah, we'll go ahead and kind of talk about them. So the Ewok skirmishes, there's 6 base. They're all 1 health each, 1 courage, white dice, no surging. They're fast with speed 2 and unhindered. They've only got melee and then low profile, which is going to help. And then they can bring a heavy, a regular, well, I should say a heavy, their axe person, and then the trapper, so that you can also play that 2-pip or so that's got the trap that's like impact 4 and all that good stuff. And then they have a training, and then those are the core. So you're probably going to have probably anywhere between 2 to, I hope, 8. I hope it's kind of similar to the invasion force. That'd be really cool. And then the Ewok Slingers are all special forces, and hopefully you can have up to maybe 4 special forces in this battle force. And they all have that 1 health, 6 base, white dice, range 1 to 2 gun. It's primitive, so anything against armor, any crits against armor is going to turn to a hit. So you don't get anything through, and it's probably going to be for the whole entire dice pool. And then they've also got stones as their melee, which is just a white but no surge, so they're CIS B1s at that point. And then they do have independent surge, which is really nice. And then they have target 1, and then low profile unhindered. So whether you give them an order or not, they're going to get some sort of green token, which is really good. And then they also are going to have the heavy axe, the trapper position probably, and then the training. and they're a little bit cheaper. They're at 35 points, so that's not too bad. And any thoughts so far on the core and the special forces guys? What do you guys think about them?
What is it? One of Wicked's command cards. Is it just him that he? No, it's Surge to Hit. He grants and no, or they have an upgrade card that gives them charge. That's what
Yes.
it
So I was gonna say it's
was.
his. I think it's three pip. He no wait yeah
Or
his.
it's there's a generic 3 pip that for Bright Tree that gives three Ewok trooper units, Dauntless and Relentless.
Oh my God, that's right.
So it's oh man. Either one of those units getting if you can only take three special forces, that's all three of them coming in with their slings.
Yep.
Ah, goodness.
Yeah, that could be
And
really
then I
good
think
because
they
that
already have
the
like
range that they would wind up having would be insane.
Yep. You give them an aim, or you give them
An
the order.
order.
They've got an aim now. Now they can move twice and then chuck their use their slings. Ugh.
low profile and a
Yeah.
And that's what possibly 8 black dice coming at you at that range 1 to 2. That's a what almost that's a Sash's attack, isn't it? No
Yeah.
surge, just 8 black dice.
to get that accent on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy.
So if we look at the axe and everyone else, we can see that it's a red and melee only, and it's got pierce and impact. So that's going to be really good against darks, but you're probably not going to last long against darks. You're probably going to take your 2 hits and then be completely roasted. And then you've got your call to arms, which is really nice. And so this one, the unit gains a suppression, and then this unit gains charge until the end of the round. So that card alone is going to be really good with that 2 pip you were just talking about, where they gain relentless and charge, and then maybe on the next round you play that upgrade, and then they can keep moving and then charge into someone. So they can cover tons of ground. And then maybe on one of the turns that you use the call to arms, maybe you've played Wicked's 3 pip, which basically, this round the Bright Tree Trooper units with a face up order token change their courage value to null, so that suppression that they gain doesn't really matter. And then the units that have a face up order token can form attack pools with 1 attack dice extra for every wound token or defeated miniature. So you've got that old 2 pip that allows them to have relentless, and then the next turn you play is 3 pip, give the call to arms units the order, and then you can just again double move and charge.
I'll say. Am I the only one that's disappointed the Axe Ewok isn't at least range one also?
Yeah, that
Really, really broken.
that would be cool. Ah man, they missed an opportunity with that.
It's like range one ain't much, but it feels weird that it can go on to a ranged unit and it's only
Yeah, it's
melee.
kind of weird, huh? I feel like maybe you could get kind of cheeky if you did range one and you know you're going to be in range one. You could throw the oh wait, no, they don't have that upgrade. But let's say if they have like a little grenade upgrade and they have a frag grenade up there, now it's search and crit. Hashtag get wrecked with Pierce one and
At
impact.
least they can't take grenades though.
Right.
That'd be crazy.
And then we'll keep looking. They've got Forest Dwellers, which this unit's going to gain Scout 1, and then at the start of the first activation phase, it's going to gain a dodge. So, and it's a training slot, but if you have the Ewok Trapper, you can have an extra training upgrade. And so maybe having Forest Dwellers and Call to Arms could be really good, because those are 2 different ones. But then we also have this Insatiable Curiosity. So, it's only for the skirmishers and slingers. You only use once, and then choose an enemy unit in base contact with this unit's leader, and then that. Okay, so sorry. Choose an enemy unit in base contact with this unit's unit leader that has a heavy gear or weapons upgrade equipped, and then you can discard one of those non-unique. So no dark sabers, and or what was another one? I think I think just dark sabers you can't do, but
Probably Beskar spear or something like
Beskar
that.
spear,
The Anban rifle.
yeah,
Yeah,
and ban you can't get rid of those, but
yeah, the DC
Cassians you
nine.
can, Iden's weapon you can get rid of, and you're gonna get rid of it. And then this unit suffers one wound. So I think the Ewok unit suffers a wound because it's kind of like the Ewok took the weapon and or gear slot and accidentally did something to itself. From what I think I
Yeah, I ran
understand.
away.
But so, I think Krabak also brought up a good question. So when can you use this? Is it as soon as they base you, or is it during your turn? And or what happens to the mini? What happens to the heavy? What I know the gear's completely gone at that point, and then the weapon's completely gone at that point. But then what happens to that heavy?
The mini is just a regular model at that point. Then they stay on the board.
Got you.
Um, yeah, it was one of the things that they added into the CRB. Um, was if like a upgrade gets discarded, what happens? And it's says like the mini remains, but uh,
The
essentially
weapon
you just flip the
profiles.
card over. Yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
that sounds cool because I guess I don't know if Operative Luke is going to be involved in that battle force because obviously he was on the Death Star and not on Endor.
I mean, he took a speeder bike. He had some part to play this time.
Oh yeah, that's right. So maybe if you can bring Operative Luke in this, you can or oh never mind, sorry. It's not that. It's just now you can take out the heavy as if it's a regular personnel and it's not the last one to die. So that's actually good news too. So, thinking about it that way, you can force choke a heavy and then all the other heavy that, got downgraded can die immediately.
Yeah, it's a terrifying card, and kind of
yeah, that is
surprised it's
worth
only
it.
8 points.
But is it worth it to bring over the other stuff. Like having
Yes.
forest dwellers is really good, and the call to arms you can only have what twice or two different units have it.
If you take the trapper, I mean, you're going to get a second training upgrade. So you could, yeah, taking forest dwellers and satiable on at least probably three of them. I don't know if I'd take any less than three if I'm going to go that route because then they're just going to get focused down. But um,
Yeah, you can do Forest Dwellers, Ewok Trapper, and then Insatiable Curiosity.
yeah,
There you go.
it's
You
a
got it.
terrifying combination.
Oh yeah, and I think hopefully there's a lot of cover on the board, and then as we were saying with the ATST Chewbacca being an ATST, so Han Solo has teamwork with Chewie. And so I'm assuming that, Han Solo is going to be in this battle force and he's going to be able to have teamwork still with an ATST. So, and with steady, he can just, take an aim, possibly, and then the ATST gets an aim. He can move slightly out and take a shot still, and then the next turn, he can kind of maybe take a shot and then move back, or take an aim, and then kind of do something for the ATST. I don't know. What do you guys think about, either the teamwork with the ATST or how the ATST will wind up playing? Because it has incognito, but then that leaves the rest of your army open to get shot unless you're obviously keeping them behind the ATST, but you can't fit that many.
I, so I was just looking at Han and like the regular Chewy card. I think it only works if you're taking regular Chewy because does I don't think ATST Chewy has um, teamwork on him, right? Because
But
Han doesn't have teamwork Chewy. It's Chewy that has
oh,
teamwork Han.
oh man, that all right. Never mind. Well, dang,
Oh man,
that
if only.
sucks.
But if it allows you to take his command cards,
Oh yeah, I hope so.
because I think I want to say the reason that people were talking about that was because the card may have field commander. So if it does, you may be able to do that. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I know the Fifth
But it's
Trooper
handy, but it's
website does.
Chewbacca, so I don't think that there's anything saying that you can't do his command cards.
I don't because it does say Chewy, so I mean, I would assume that you can take it.
Yeah, I don't
I
see.
guess there's only one way to know.
Yeah,
This is going to be the Blizzard Force killer right here. I'm calling it.
yeah. Have
And
to.
so, have we talked about Wicket yet, necessarily?
I don't think so.
So I know. So he's got the independent one or independent dodge one. So anytime he doesn't get an order, he's going to get a dodge. Low profile. He's got nimble, so he can reuse that dodge. He's got relentless. Scouting party, sharpshooter 2, unhindered. And with that scouting party 2, if you were to equip, the forest dweller, you get another scout, and then you get a dodge. So you've got scout 3, and then you've got a dodge to begin with already, whether you give yourself an order or not. And then maybe you've got Leia in there who gets an order first and starts handing out more dodges. Wicket can have 3 dodges in the very first round. And then maybe eventually, if he was also equipped with call to arms. No, he's already got relentless. That's right. So never mind. Yeah. So he's. I mean, other than that, he'd be really good because he's gonna be moving pretty fast. He's got that Pierce 1 primitive sling, and then spear. He's got a pretty decent spear, and he surges to crit, and he surges to defense. Low health at 5, low courage at 2, but 3 training slots. Any thoughts on your wicket to begin? Just his stats.
I he is just going to be a pain to deal with. um, I mean, just keep him hidden on turn 1 so he can't get bombarded. Um, but after that, then he doesn't get an order until he wants one, and he'll be happy without it. So, yeah,
Yeah, I wonder.
he'll be a menace.
I don't. Do you think that his command cards are your what do you think about his 1 pip? So his 1 pip at the start of the activation phase, he's going to gain a dodge, so that at least helps with his independent. And then this round, he's going to increase his maximum speed 3, gains outmaneuver, and he cannot attack this round. So you can't really charge, which sucks. You can, I guess, run into melee if you really needed him to just kind of get into a unit that's already been. But other than that, you're going to use it to run away, but hopefully it's after you've claimed an objective. I mean, when do you guys think that you would use it?
Probably after claiming an objective or the round before you're gonna do something kind of crazy. Because what you could probably do, take Leia with him, so you can do take cover. So even if he does get the order, go with Leia first, take cover on him. He's gonna get a dodge. Well, yeah, he will get a dodge. Now he has 2 dodges. He moves twice. He has outmaneuver, and then if anybody else, like a regular rebel officer, can get him before he goes, you can load him up with some dodges. So I don't think it's like that bad of a thing, but it's either after he would claim an objective or before he's going to dive. I think that's going to take somebody.
And then his 2 pips, so sneaky scouting. So choose up to 2 enemy units at range 2 of Wicket. They each gain 2 observation tokens, which is really nice. It doesn't say that it has to be in line of sight, it just says at range 2. And then each of them are going to gain the observations. When a friendly unit declares an attack against a unit that has observation tokens this round, they may spend an observation token on the enemy unit to gain surge to hit for that attack. So I think that that's really going to go well with your slingers, your the Ewoks with the slings, because they're going to gain that surge to hit at that point. And then, so with his 3 pip, the courageous counterattack, he's going to be able to give it to himself and the 2 other units, and then they're going to not care about their courage value at all. And the trooper units that have the face-up order token can, we've already talked about add a white attack dice to the attack pool for every wound token or defeated mini in the unit. And if you're down to just 1 mini out of 8, so you're rolling 7 dice, extra white dice, and so it's kind of like you never even lost your guys to begin with. So that's really good. Any extra thoughts on Wicket and the Battle Force, or what you kind of expect to see with the Battle Force? Maybe who you expect to see a lot, because we also have Leia with her friendship card. Let me bring it down a little. So she's going to gain teamwork, or sorry, Wicket's going to gain teamwork with Leia, which is good for the take cover and a whole bunch of stuff. And whenever she takes dodge, but it's kind of like Allies of Convenience, but at range 1, and that's really what it is, because your rebel Leia is not going to be able to necessarily, or Han or someone, but you're going to almost have to bring Leia in this battle force to be able to have like either Han or generic commander give out orders to Ewoks, or Ewoks give orders to rebels. But I'm assuming we're probably going to see a ton of Leia for that reason, and Wicket, but that's already 2 command slots.
I'm very curious how they're gonna do order issuing in this battle force because this is going to be the first one that's going into one of the 4 factions that uses mercenaries. Um, so like, are they just all going to natively essentially gain or have no need for underworld connections so they can just issue orders, or do they still need that to issue orders? Be interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good point because we already have a command card for it specifically for this battle force. So that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would assume that you will have to either have allies of convenience if you don't bring Leia, but then that defeats the whole purpose of the round the you know range one order being given. Yeah, maybe they won't allow allies of
And,
convenience to force that card.
yeah. Maybe, or it's just yeah, maybe they just will have it be where everyone essentially just gains it natively. Um, Makes it so you've got more flexibility. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
interesting. Um,
I don't know. I don't know how competitive this will be or how much you'll see it. Now, I hope that they at least do a Battle Force box like they did with Shadow Collective, rather than just have the individual box for skirmishers and or the slingshot people. You know, either the slingers. Yeah, I'm hoping that it's easier to get multiple units. But yeah,
yeah,
Eddie,
we'll have to see.
say what?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see because I don't know if they're. I feel like they would have revealed it by this point, but maybe not.
Well, they still have to go over Log Ray because we haven't seen him,
That's true.
and hopefully there's something else this week with that, and maybe they'll release the Battle Force rules with him, if not a week after. Because are they due in June or July?
Uh, July, I believe.
Yeah, they'll need to make an
Yeah, the
announcement
end of
soon.
July.
Okay, yeah, they'll need to make an announcement coming up because then why buy the boxes and stuff if we don't really know everything? And to get people more hyped up, I think even with the Shadow Force or Shadow Collective, they kind of had it way more in advance and got everybody hyped up for it all.
Oh man, I gonna have to bring more flamer RTs. your
Flamethrowers are going to be way more popular. I feel like at this point.
your low profile means nothing. I have blast.
That's a really good point. Blizzard Force is probably going to annihilate this if they have snows with flames.
Yeah, HRUs are gonna be terrified, but that's about it.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
Unless you can get them in close enough to where I don't know, snow speed one. You would have to, I guess, take what's the 3 pip for them to get spurred to get them even close. But who's to say that? Is it? I think I saw somewhere that CPPO's card is he had a trick. I couldn't remember if he has a trick or not. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is who's to say that you can't have Wicket do something nasty? Plays one pip to go up in there and then just remove your flamethrower. Now you have nothing.
Yep. And I think even for the Battle Force, I know kind of a little off of what you said, but I think they should have the 1 to 4 commander operative slots. So they should be allowed to have up to 4 commanders, even just like Shadow Collective, so that they can have a hero build with those Ewoks. Because I mean, it's going to be hard not to want to take an ATST, and then with the options of being able to have 4 commanders and operatives, and or I should say, being having Leia, operative Luke, Wicket, that, and maybe Han. You've got your 4, you're all together there, and then you bring Chewie, and then you fill out the rest with a few Ewoks. You've got a really good short. It's a small list, but a really good, hopefully, list.
And you've got what 2 more commanders that you can choose from too, between Logray and C-3PO.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I completely forgot about them. Jeez. The Golden
Good.
God.
Oh man,
I
can't
mean,
wait to see what people do for that model,
for
just to
real.
like make their own.
Because did
Oh
they
man,
already put those up? I completely.
they I don't know if they put them up or if it was just at Adepticon.
Yep, just at
But
Adepticon.
I've got C-3PO's card here. 'Cause, man, I've forgotten what it was on it.
Me too.
um, it's got that Master Storyteller action ability. X is the round number, and you can choose up to that many friendly Ewok units, and they each gain 2 surge tokens. Compel Ewok Trooper and Infiltrate, and then the Divine Influence, where all the Ewoks around him gain Guardian 2 with Protector. Or no, is it Guardian 2 or 1? Guardian 2 for C-3PO
And he's
and
super cheap
Protector.
too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like 40 points, I think. Yeah, 40 points. 3 health, 2 courage.
So,
Speed 2. Wow, he's moving quick.
yeah. I was gonna say maybe. Yeah. So if you did have the four, you could bring, I guess, the C-3PO, Wicket, maybe Leia, and Logray,
Yeah.
and you've got your two rebels, and then your two Ewok commanders, and then you can fill the rest with whatever. Man, that's a ton of Ewoks. That's a high activation list, I'm assuming.
I feel bad for the people that are going to have to paint all that. That's so many models. Oh my gosh.
And they're so different than B1s. B1s, you can just done. These you're gonna actually
Yep.
have to put some time into. Oh man, yeah, commission,
Uh,
commission, commission. That is
yep.
something I cannot do myself.
And
But
they're going to be so small too.
oh yeah, their silhouettes. I'm assuming are probably gonna be the same, right?
Yeah, they probably will
So,
be. Unless they have, I don't think they have the small, the keyword that R2D2 has.
yeah, and they've got some of them standing on like or hopping over like tree logs and stuff like that. So yeah, I imagine they're probably the regular trooper size. If Yoda's the regular trooper size, I should hope these guys are.
Yeah, that'd be tough because now you can't even hide them as well, and that low profile is gonna. Whatever.
I figured you'd be able to hide them. They're still that's still going to be there, but if you have something that's considered heavy, they're going to have that low profile. So you're always going to cancel for everything. So should be fine. I guess Blast is really going to give its money's worth though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man, it's all coming together.
Yep. And I'm excited to kind of. I hope that they kind of bring out C3PO, and maybe he has some command cards that'd be really fun. And then Logray. Hopefully they come out with him soon again too. But that's really it. I think for today, we've already kind of gone over our hour, but you know, this is a lot of good information, and hopefully you guys have learned a lot, and y'all have helped me with a few questions that I've had, and yeah, any final words that you guys want to kind of give? Any hot takes or anything about Ewoks or C3PO or the Battle Force? Maybe any.
I don't know about hot takes, but everybody's starting to do some tournaments for the Quest to Worlds. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck to all the people who have tournaments coming up soon. I know there's a few in June and a lot in July.
Yep.
Yeah,
That'd probably be for another.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, probably be for another video. But we looks like AMG just posted something about Legion points, but it's not Legion points. It's about talking about other stuff.
They just posted it.
Yeah, they just posted it, but it's kind of like why it's all about like why you didn't get points on May 4th when the season started on May 4th.
Oh no!
So we'll see what happens with that. So, well, I guess I know what I'm having to bring for ACO then. At least I don't have to worry about that.
That's true. Oh man,
Oh man.
Did they
you'll have to
say when
post
they
that
were
in the
gonna drop
Discord
it
so I
or
can
no?
see it.
Uh,
Was it a transmission?
yeah.
Was it
Here, I'll post it in. Here, I'll put it in general chat. There we go.
I think I see it under transmissions.
It might not be in like the Legion transmissions. It might just be in something else because it's like it's called Atomic Mass Games Studio Communications Roundup #1.
Yes.
Ah, so yeah, so we intended to get this out by the end of May. However, things happen, and there are several checkpoints along the road to getting content into your hands. And we have run into a delay, but it's still coming. And we wanted to let you know that there will not be an update prior to UKGE. Okay, well, all right.
Like I said, that'd probably be another video all by itself.
Well,
Jesus Christ.
But there's also good stuff in here. It's like how do you report store kit winner or the championship kit winners.
yeah, I was looking at that too, and so yeah, we can. Yeah, hopefully there's a lot of people who can get some information on this. All right. Well,
These guys.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
we'll
guess
end it there. Maybe I know it's a
Yep.
little low note, but yeah, we'll wind up coming back eventually in June, and hopefully they've made some good point changes to make up for this delay.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, it's probably just someone didn't check a box yet at Disney. I'm sure it's over in their hands and they've got it all finished, ready to go, and Disney just is taking their time.
that's fair. I guess I won't put it all on them.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Disney, they're firing like 8,000 people or something like that.
Yeah, they fired quite a bunch.
So,
Well, all right. That is it for today, and I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, go ahead and head to the Discord where you can just see what Canadian Bear just posted and all the other things that we have, and we'll announce another live Q&A at some point soon. And then head to the Clan of Shadows Patreon to become a Patreon member, support the channel, and help with the giveaways. I am Shadow Scout, and then
Chosen one. Don't forget to join the painting contest.
and I'm Canadian Bear.
yeah, and we will see you in another video. Peace out, guys.
See ya.